Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. We've got Jessica in the shop today. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing all right, thanks for asking.
And we're going to be talking a little bit about our experience at the Good of the Land Fest. We went to the Good of the Land Fest here all the way out in Temple, Texas. This year is 2019, so if you're watching this in 2020, well, this is a year late and probably $100 short, huh?
Yes.
But not too late to get your tickets for the 2020 Fest if you're watching this out in the ethos in the future. But anyway, so yeah, we just wanted to share a little bit about our experience going to the Fest this year. And again, another big thank you to Justin over at the Good of the Land. Thank you for having us out to your fest, sir, and it was a fun time demonstrating. So I really enjoyed that. And I'm going to dive in about some of my experiences here, and hopefully you guys will enjoy some of the videos that are going to be coming up and playing on the screen, and that sort of thing. You guys enjoyed the time lapses. As you can see, I have had a ton, and I do mean a ton of people that went through that little small blacksmith shop that I happened to be crowded into the corner at the door. And not that I had to by choice, but there is that many people. It really didn't pay to take and expand out the tools much further than my little corner of the world there, my little corner of the fest. But it was a great time. I got to meet a lot of subscribers to the channel. I got to meet a ton of interesting people, a lot of really cool fellow YouTubers that were there, some big names there, like Derista, Scott over at
Essential Craftsman.
Yeah, Essential Craftsman, just like him. It was great to take and meet him and his wife, and a whole bunch, like that slews other. Those are just kind of like the two big name drops. I'm sure there'll be plenty of them. Stephen Cox, and all sorts of good people. But anyways, Jessica got to meet a lot more of them than I did because she was going around with the kids while I was, just doing that boring old dad thing, like demonstrating and talking profusely. That I'm really good at.
Yeah, they got a little antsy. They started cracking pecans if we stayed by the blacksmith shop too long, so...
That and collecting wood pieces. There was kindling pieces on the floor of the blacksmith shop over in one corner, and I think they rearranged the pile of those
several times.
I don't know, 50 times
probably,
or so. Yeah, they were quite bored when they weren't playing with other kids and hanging out on the playground, and like kids are. You can't. You could give them all the fun things to do in the world, and they'll still be bored. So they'll find something to do, like playing with sticks in the blacksmith shop. But yeah, you never know. So part of the fest, part of my demonstration was to do hands-on. So I got to take and forge with a couple people, kind of do some hands-on forging, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I also got to teach a couple kids as well. I think there's about 8 kids that come through. And that I was able to get to and do some hands-on instruction, so that was, that was good. Hopefully that'll inspire them for the future, and I do enjoy that. And and Jess, like, how'd you fare at the fest since you got to use your eyeballs and see all the mighty things that I didn't get to see?
Yeah, I got to see quite a bit, but even so, there was still even more stuff that I didn't get around to. But right next to us was Clark from Windy Hill Foundry. And so Roy probably got to peek out the window and see that a little bit. And he was casting anvils, like small ones. I'm not sure what the weight range was, but he started the process from the very beginning of making the boxes for where he had to pack the sand, and he was showing the process for that. And so I got to see that on the first day. And then some of the footage is from the second day when he was doing a second round of casting. And on the first day, he had some of the metal got spilt on the ground and actually created like a 2 or 3 foot circle diameter of flame. It burned out shortly after. And
I missed that part. My back's turned the entire time on a lot, like all the good parts. I think I only ever saw one actual pour. And I missed all the spicy stuff, just because I was developing my own spicy stuff there in the shop. So, but anyways, yeah. So it was pretty entertaining, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So.
It seemed like one of the lengthiest processes maybe was actually feeding the metal into the kiln to heat up, because he was preheating it and then that took a couple of minutes before he'd like actually put it down in there. And then I think they said it takes about an hour at least to melt the metal and to get to that part of the process where you can actually do the pour. And then after he had the metal and it was fully heated, he was using cast iron, and he would...
Lots of heat there, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of heat to put that out. So yeah, he was fully decked out in leathers, top to bottom. So
yeah, oh yeah, you can feel the heat. Everybody had to stand back quite a ways. Then after the metal was ready, he would sprinkle, I think it was flux, to get any dross off of and impurities out of the cast iron, and he would pull that out, and you could, he was like hitting it on the ground so you could see that. And then he walked over to the molds where he was doing the pour, and then poured the hot metal in. So at the end I walked up to it, it's still glowing red, it stays hot for a while, and you can see the pool of metal down in there, and that was neat.
Yeah.
And
if you guys have any interest in those type videos, just drop them down in the comment section down below. I believe you got a good portion of that demonstration, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
You got it filmed. So if you have interest in that, you want to see that, we will put a link, by the way, to everyone's channels that we're mentioning in this video, so you can check them out personally. I'm pretty sure they'll have something up on their channel, but just in case they don't, if you guys want to see that on our channel, drop it down in the comment section down below. We'll post a video about that and what they're doing, and that way you can be part of that process as we go along. So who else you get there, Jess?
Yeah, another event that was going on there was with Extreme Sandbox, and they had some heavy equipment that actually, as long as you're 14 or older, you could operate it. And so my oldest, she's 9, and she wanted to do it, and they're like, no, you're not quite old enough yet. But yeah, you got to get in there, and what did I say, excavator? I think?
They're like excavators, just track hose, that sort of thing.
So people were in there like scooping up dirt and like rearranging it, so they'd scoop it out of this giant pit they made, and then pile it off to one side, and then scoop it and put it back. And so there's 2 of those machines going, and it seemed like they got quite a few people in there to do that, and so that was a kind of a fun, neat little thing going on there.
Like, if you ever seen those things at like kids' playgrounds, if you have kids at the park where they've got like those little excavators that you sit on, like the little backhoe bucket thing that you can do like this and stuff. Basically just that for bigger kids.
Big kids, real big kids.
Yeah, we call them grown-ups, right?
Yes, exactly. Let's see, another thing that we went and saw was Tommy from Temple College. He was doing pottery, and so he was under the main pavilion, as several of the people were, and so he was, he did a piece on the pottery wheel, and then he also heated it up with a torch. He was drying off some of the moisture so he could set it aside for firing later on, and he had quite a few of his finished pieces up for display as well. And we had asked, some of the pieces of his had texture on it, and we were asking about how he created those, and he was just using either stamps or stencils or like hand carving the details in before the firing. So that was neat to see. And one thing that our kids really liked was there was a guy making orange sherbet with a hit and miss engine. And so we waited in line, and I think there's probably like 20 people over there when we went to go do that. But he kept it going like all day long. He was just making sherbet the first day, and second day was margaritas for the adults. So but it makes it a lot easier than hand cranking, I'm sure.
I got to talk to him briefly, and I forget how many gallons of ice cream he made, but I want to say he made like, it was either 20 or 40 gallons of ice cream, and then it was about the same in margaritas. So he definitely, he sold out of both. So
he did. And another event that we got to see, which was happened right behind the blacksmith shop, was someone had brought a duplex automatic woven wire fence machine for, so it was a fence making machine, and you cranked it, had all these gears on it, and so it was twisting the wire. And I read up the data sheet on it, and it was actually used for keeping wolves out of livestock. And I think it was early to mid 19th century is when it really started getting popular, especially for those who did farming and raised livestock, because wolves was quite a problem. So when they were able to keep that out, they could minimize their losses from predators.
excuse the shop cap. They he decided being fed and staying on the concrete ground was not good enough. He needed to be up here.
Yeah, he needs some attention.
Even though he's got his whole Princess and the Pea, I've got a bunch of moving blankets. This is a little side trail. I got a bunch of moving blankets stacked up in the shop over there, and he's like Princess and the Pea. He goes up there and sleeps like 18 hours out of a 24-hour day.
Oh yeah.
Up there after he gets fed and goes to sleep. So.
Let's see. There's one other one I passed over earlier that I'll mention, and his name was Tyler. He was doing leather working. His channel name was, or business name was, Nice Custom Goods, and he did. While we were there, we watched a demonstration, and he just made like a leather pouch for a pen. So we got to see him, and he talked about some of the different types of leather and some of the specifics on the leather, and then also about his sewing machine, and it has to be a pretty heavy duty specific type of sewing machine, and he was saying that he had to put a rheostat, I think that's what it's called, for controlling the speed, because originally you could practically sew your arm up in your piece if you didn't slow it down a little bit. And then he also had an area for people to just try out a little bit of leather working. He had quite a bit of scraps that you could practice on. He also had some stamps out where you could, like they're pre-made keychains, and so you could stamp either made in Texas, or you could use individual letter stamps and create your own, and then make your own little keychain as a memento for the event. So that was pretty neat too. My oldest, she liked trying that out, and
it better be our oldest.
It is our oldest.
That's a rare moment you'll catch on camera.
Yeah. She's definitely our oldest. But she enjoys doing arts and crafts, and so she made at least 3 keychains and then practiced some more on a leather piece there. So it was a really good time at the fest. The first day, the Saturday, was super busy. There was, Justin had said, over 700 tickets sold ahead of time, and then not sure about the total count. And then the second day was, the VIP, 50 people who had bought tickets, and then all the YouTubers. So it was a smaller crowd, and that was kind of nicer for not having to get the camera around people to try to get the right shot. So and
just a little confession on my end. It's very difficult sometimes, well, all the time for me, when I go to do demonstration or to teach. It's very difficult. I need to work on it about vlogging while I do that, just because my focus is so intensely focused on the crowd and or the students, and I very rarely sit there and think about moving the camera around. So you'll notice that in the earlier shots in this video, most of my time lapse was all from one area. Yeah. And one of those first time lapses was actually, oh my gosh, it was 6 hours of time lapse. So it had a lapse in just that one video. So an absolute ton of footage. But that's one thing. It's hard to do. It's hard to do both. Manage a camera, batteries, focus, that whole thing, and do what you're supposed to be doing in the first place, which is demonstrating and teaching. So,
and how many different blacksmiths were there? Was it 4? Well, no, more than 4.
There was more. There was too many for me to count.
Okay.
I know that there was like 4 main guys, 4 main people that were demonstrating. I was one of them. Charles from, I'm going to mess. At least I got your name right, Charles. I'm sorry I didn't get your
Charles
forge right.
And Emily.
Yeah, Charles and Emily. They were just outside the shop there. And then there was a few other people as well.
Liam Hoffman stopped by.
Liam Hoffman
I think.
Stopped in and did a demonstration, a little short presentation. He was doing that out there. And then a couple of people, Davis Metalsmiths, he had brought up some equipment, a great big old power hammer to use, and big old beautiful Chambersburg hammer. And I didn't get to run any of it, sadly, but I plan on rectifying that situation next year when I get up there with the big project. More to come on that. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. I think we have more probably videos on it than what we have time in this video to take and play them all. So again, I just wanted to
sleepy.
Yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you again to Justin over at Good Land, and just for having us, and that we could come out there and do that and do the demonstration. It really was a good time. For me, I kind of unpacked my tools and kind of lit the forge just to make sure everything was set up at the right area. And it was a windy, blustery night, and sure enough, there before I knew it, there was 15, 20 people standing around.
Everybody wanted to warm up.
Yeah, everybody wanted to warm up around the forge, and so it kind of turned into an impromptu demonstration. The first day we were there, just setup day, and then 2 good days of demonstrating after that. And just, again, it was a good time had by all. And yep, looking forward to next year, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're gonna let you all go. We've been yammering on long enough. Huh?
Yes, we have enough to put the cat to sleep.
Enough to put the cat to sleep. So, all right. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for supporting our content and our channel. Hey, if you like this video and you'd like to support more like it, why don't you consider sharing it around with friends, hitting that like and the subscribe button. That always helps out. And you know. And we'll just catch you on the next one, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. All right. God bless you all. We'll talk to you later. Bye.